Welcome back to the Raiders franchise, and we have more breaking news. We had breaking news last week, and we got breaking news this week. Josh Jacobs and the Raiders have agreed on a contract extension. 2 years, $32 million, so he will be paid $16 million for next year and the season after, and it keeps Josh Jacobs in Las Vegas. Now, as we have the New York Gauntlet coming up next, we have us, unfortunately, taking a loss to the Giants, where once again the offense was struggling to put points up on the board. Josh Jacobs got a little banged up in the game, but he is ultimately fine. He'll be playing next week and hopefully for the rest of the season. But Josh Jacobs, getting him under contract for another 2 years is pretty big. While we did take a bit of a hit in the Davante Adams trade with what we have to pay him and his guaranteed money, it freed up some money ultimately for us to pay Josh Jacobs, and him being essentially the highest paid running back in the league per year is going to be big for us. Then we didn't have to do it on a long-term deal. But we are now here to take on the New York Jets. We took a loss to the Giants last week. Let's hope we can have a bit better luck against the other New York team, as Aaron Rodgers is going to lead the Jets into battle, and it's going to be interesting to see Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform throwing to Garrett Wilson, handing off to Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. We're going to see if we can get a win on the board, something we have not done in a little while. It'll be Jets, Raiders up next. Jets are receiving the ball up first, and Robert Saleh giving the last couple of words to Aaron Rodgers, and as you can see what he's done this season, 16 touchdowns, just 1 interception, still as efficient as ever with his touchdown-interception ratio, but he takes the field, already spreading things out the 25-yard line. Rodgers to throw, and he goes outside on the first play, and there's Tyler Conklin for 15 yards, and Aaron Rodgers staying in the spread. Rodgers to throw over the middle, and he missed it. But he already is slinging the ball left and right as he goes outside, and that's Mecole Hardman from the Chiefs all the way to New York, and now Dalvin Cook on the ground, and he gets brought down an open field by Moehrig. Now for receivers, handing it off, Dalvin Cook up the middle, and Cook gets brought down by Moehrig again, but now they're already at the 32-yard line as Mecole Hardman breaking 2 tackles, making another one, missing Mecole Hardman to the 10-yard line, and the Jets are wasting no time moving. Quick outside, there's Tyler Conklin, and Conklin gets it to the 2-yard line. Rodgers will fake it, and Aaron Rodgers on the read option has a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers with a rare read option, fooling everyone, and the Jets strike incredibly quickly as they go on the board 7-0. Now the Raiders take over. Garoppolo hands it to Josh Jacobs, freshly paid Josh Jacobs, as he'll get 5 yards, and Jacobs will take another carry, and Jacobs, he'll have himself another 5 yards. It'll be 3rd and inches. This time it's a play action. Garoppolo rolling. It'll check it down to Jacobs, who has just enough for the first down. 3 straight times to Jacobs. Make it 4. Now he's trying to go outside. Spin move, breaking a tackle. And Josh Jacobs, not so much on this one, as Quinnen Williams is down, and that could be big for our rushing attack if Quinnen Williams is out. And now we go Jacobs on the passing game, and I guess since we paid him, we're wasting no time giving him all the touches, as another one, 6 straight touches for Jacobs. Stiff arm on the outside, and Jacobs to midfield, past it in fact, as Garoppolo will throw underneath, and there's Trey Tucker with the catch. And Trey Tucker finally healthy, finally able to play and show this Raiders offense what he can do. Garoppolo's rolling, throwing, and Sauce Gardner makes a play on the ball, knocking it down, and it's 3rd down and 6. Garoppolo will go underneath and missing Jacoby Myers badly. 4th down, we're going for it, past midfield. Garoppolo just had Michael Mayer wide open, and he missed him. It's getting tough to watch Jimmy Garoppolo routinely miss these passes, and let's hope some competent QB play can hit the Raiders soon, as Dalvin Cook takes a 6-yard carry, and Aaron Rodgers to throw a quick slant. That's Garrett Wilson. He's having a big year with Aaron Rodgers, as now they go outside. Dalvin Cook gets brought down by Max Crosby, loss of 2, and once again they go similar play and similar result. Max Crosby with another stop, 3rd and 12 suddenly. Max Crosby trying to end this possession, as Rodgers just throws the football away. No one was open. They'll punt it away, and Now it's going to be Josh Jacobs in the offense as he takes a carry, and little hesitation, only gets himself a yard as Garoppolo to the air now. And Jimmy goes just way short of Michael Mayer, and it's 3rd and 9. Jimmy to throw, and a float one, and it's out of reach. And another missed pass. He is just missing everything early. But Aaron Rodgers isn't, as Garrett Wilson has a huge play to the 37-yard line. Rodgers to throw once more. And deep ball! He tried to get one up for Hardman, and it's swatted away. Rodgers to take another throw, and he'll throw out of bounds. 3rd and 10 in field goal range, but they want more than that as Rodgers to throw once again. He will roll around, but he'll get sacked. He had nowhere to go, and that's Tyree Wilson knocking him out of field goal range. Raiders will take over following a punt. We hand to Jacobs, and Jacobs only gets 2 yards, and we'll see if the Jets can continue to force Garoppolo to the air, as this time he completes a pass to DeAndre Carter. But the more Garoppolo has to throw, the more likely you are to win a football game, as we throw outside once again, and this time it's caught by Jacoby Myers, but not a whole lot of yards as Garoppolo rolls right into pressure. John Franklin Myers has a sack. It's 3rd and long, and Garoppolo will have to throw once again, and he'll go to DeAndre Carter, who has it at the first down marker and at midfield for the first down, and a rare 3rd and long conversion as Jacobs gets through the line, breaking a tackle, and he has a big run, but there's a flag on the play. And when you get a big run, there's usually a reason why, and the hole opened up because Colton Miller held, and it's 1st and 14 now. Play action. Garoppolo to the air, and Michael Mayer it was out of his reach again. Garoppolo to throw, hit as he's throwing, and incomplete. 3rd and 14 now. As Jimmy to the air. He'll go over the middle, and another miss. Rodgers and the offense take over. It's getting frustrating to watch. Tyler Conklin has 7 yards on first down. Quick drop from Rodgers, and a little behind Garrett Wilson. A rare Rodgers miss as it's 3rd and 3. This time he hits him, and it's Mecole Hardman for a first down to the 22-yard line. And Rodgers will hand to Dalvin Cook, and we have not seen a lot of Breece Hall this game, as Breece Hall maybe just resting up for the playoffs or something, as they don't want to get him injured, as Dalvin Cook gets brought down in the backfield. Once again, it's Max Crosby who's having a great game. As Rodgers, they send the blitz, and it does not matter. Tyler Conklin's having a big first half, as Conklin has it at the 40. Now they'll go with Dalvin Cook once more, and Dalvin Cook has himself 9 yards. 2nd and 1. Play action Rodgers. All the time in the world, and Rodgers on the run, wide open, Mecole Hardman. And that was just too much time in the pocket for Aaron Rodgers. As quick throw, Garrett Wilson, touchdown. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets strike once again, as Rodgers is just dicing this defense up with ease, and we are not doing anything on offense on our side of things to really resist it, as Jacoby Myers on an RPO, and that's a nice play. Garoppolo now play action. Will throw and has a man, Michael Mayer. There's a big play, and maybe the offense is starting to get going a little bit. Maybe Jimmy's finding a rhythm. 2 straight completions. Now we go Jacobs on the ground, and he gets brought down by C.J. Mosley after just a yard. And now we go back to Jacobs, and C.J. Mosley's there again. 3rd and 7. Garoppolo in the air. He's going to go up top. DeAndre Carter tried to test DJ Reed, and that's a bad decision. We'll go for a field goal, and Daniel Carlson will put us on the board, but you don't want to test DJ Reed, especially not with DeAndre Carter and just this receiving core as a whole, as the Jets will take over after the kickoff. They'll just take it for a touchback, and Rodgers hits his lineman up the head on 2nd down and sets up 3rd and 3. Screen set up. Dalvin Cook gets the blocking he needs, and Dalvin Cook gets brought down by Robert Spillane, but Rodgers has this offense moving, and 4 minutes to go. They hit Corey Davis on the outside, and they're threatening to score again. Already in opponent territory, and there's Hardman wide open. No one was near him, and the speed of Hardman gets him right by Marcus Peters. 1st and goal. Rodgers to throw. Quick, that's Mecole Hardman. Touchdown. And the Jets are steamrolling this first half, and their offense is looking beautiful as Jacobs has nowhere to go, and guess who? It's C.J. Mosley again. 2nd and 10, and Garoppolo hit as he's thrown, and it's incomplete. 3rd down. Jimmy will have another set of pressure in his face, and it's another incomplete pass hit as he was thrown again. Rodgers takes over, and it's going to be a 2-minute warning as they throw an incomplete pass, and Rodgers to the outside. There's Dalvin Cook for 3rd and 7. Can this defense finally get a stop? Rodgers with a lot of time. He's going to roll, throw, open man, 1st down. Just no pressure getting in, and you can't give Rodgers all that time as they go up top for Mecole Hardman, who had a step, but it's overthrown, and Rodgers will just take a quick outside pass to Tyler Conklin, and Marcus Peters took an awful angle. Marcus Peters is having a horrendous first half as Garrett Wilson breaking a tackle, and he got by Nate Hobbs and broke his tackle. They're at the 3-yard line again, and Rodgers quick pass, touchdown, and the Jets score again. Allen Lazard, 28-3. I struggle to think what's worse to watch, Jimmy Garoppolo or this defense, as Jimmy will try and roll right, and he's got Mayer. He's going to test it, and there's Jordan Whitehead coming over with the interception. He threw way too late, and Rodgers, with 20 seconds to go, will throw over the middle to Dalvin Cook, who sets them up in field goal range, and with 2 seconds to go, the Jets are going to try a field goal. It's no good, but does it really matter, as that's the first time it feels like this team is not allowed points, and it came on a 20-second drive and a long field goal. The Jets have over 350 yards of offense in the first half. It has been awful to watch this team, and this team is slowly falling apart, as with every week, every game, this team makes themselves look more and more uncompetitive, and they're just losing confidence and losing everything, it feels like. But we'll see if they can just figure it out, gain some confidence, get something, some momentum, something to talk about as the second half is next. Second half underway, and gonna hope we can not get our butts kicked this time around as Josh Jacobs fumbles on the first play. We recover, but that's not the start you want to the second half, as Josh Jacobs will now go on a screen and break a tackle, and Josh Jacobs has 8 yards to set up a 3rd and manageable. Garoppolo to the air, and he's going to throw, and he floats it for DeAndre Carter, and there we go. That's something positive. Garoppolo to hand to Jacobs, and Jacobs has just not had a good game. C.J. Mosley in the run defense has been so good this game, as he will float one again, and it's out of reach. Garoppolo to the air, 3rd and 8. Jimmy to throw, and Jimmy will miss Michael Mayer. That's going to be a punt, and Aaron Rodgers will take over as he fires one right out of bounds, missing an open man, and Rodgers will continue to spread the field, and will have a short completion, but doesn't really gain much, just a yard, as 3rd and 9. Rodgers will catch the snap and throw over the middle. That's Corey Davis for a big gain. Once again, empty backfield as it's a catch, and Mecole Hardman has had a big game, as there's Dalvin Cook on the ground, as we have not seen Breece Hall a single time, and I don't know, maybe he's banged up or they're resting him or something, but Corey Davis has another catch, 1st down, and just like in the first half, they're moving the ball with ease, as we have not gotten like a single stop on this team. It's bad. This is maybe the worst defensive performance of the season, as Dalvin Cook gets brought down, and it's 3rd down, a chance to get off the field. Rodgers, we send the blitz, it's picked up by Dalvin Cook, and that's an incomplete pass. Marcus Epps, and would you look at that, it's a Jets punt as Jacobs takes a handoff and finally has some room, in Josh Jacobs gets it to the 33-yard line, and we go back to him, and Jacobs will have 5 yards. Garoppolo to the air, and at what point does Jimmy Garoppolo get pulled as John Franklin Myers gets a sack? And what I will say is we're going to ride out this game with Jimmy Garoppolo as he throws a pick to Adrian Amos. Like I was saying, we're going to ride out this game with Jimmy, but I think after this game, this is the last you'll see of Jimmy Garoppolo this season, as It's been a failed experiment with Jimmy, and he's not okay after that injury. As they go with Jeremy Rucker, touchdown Jets. And it is going to be 35-3 as the Jets are celebrating. They're having a lot of fun, and you know, a lot of people, it's Sunday night prime time. A lot of people are probably tuning out right about now, going to bed. They probably got work in the morning, school in the morning. They got something in the morning, something better to do than watch this, as it's just been difficult. Garoppolo in the air, and he gets sacked again. Quinnen Williams got in there. Second and 26 after a delay of game penalty. And Garoppolo to the air and throws for Trey Tucker. Missed him again. We're just going to end up punting the football away. As that's a swat right there from Marcus Peters. As 3rd and 10. We go Aaron Rodgers, incomplete pass. We're just kind of bouncing around now. The Raiders had a quick 3 and out. Nothing you haven't seen already as the Packers take over in the 4th quarter. And they're just going to try to run this ball with Dalvin Cook. And they're already past midfield at the 41-yard line. Rodgers to throw quick. And that's going to be a stop. 4th and 1, long field goal try. And the kick is no good. And the Raiders have a chance to maybe get a touchdown as they start the drive at the 49-yard line. Josh Jacobs breaking a tackle. And Josh Jacobs breaking another. And Josh Jacobs won't go down. At least he's still fighting hard. As Garoppolo will throw, and that's Jacoby Myers. 2nd and 5. Garoppolo with Jacobs, and Jacobs will not quite get a first down at 3rd and 1. Jimmy will throw quick, and that's DeAndre Carter, and Carter on the bubble screen, fighting for the end zone, and he's down at the 1, but finally we could maybe score a touchdown. Josh Jacobs has it. Touchdown Raiders. 35-10. Looks a little bit better as we score our quota. We hit our 1 touchdown a game quota as the Jets are going to take over. And as the Jets did, they ran out the clock quite a bit, as with 3 minutes to go, they are just continuing to run the football, powering it with Dalvin Cook. And 3rd and 3, Rodgers will throw deep. That's Garrett Wilson, touchdown. And the Jets don't run the football. They hit us with a surprise pass, and they go long to Garrett Wilson. That'll be game. It's going to be 42-10 is your final. And the Jets steamroll the Raiders on their path to trying to make a playoff appearance. And I can say with confidence, that's the last you'll see of Jimmy G this year, and I don't know if it's going to get a whole lot better with Aiden O'Connell or Brian Hoyer, but I could tell you that Jimmy Garoppolo is just, he's done. I can't do any more with Jimmy at quarterback, and this defense obviously didn't help as Aaron Rodgers had a monstrous game, but we're done with this game, and after losing back-to-back games to the New York teams, we are still struggling to even find our 3rd win of the season. Let's just get into the college football update. A little bit more positivity in our life. This is your college football update, and I'm gonna be honest, this might be the college football update, the best one of this season, as we have plenty to talk about, and the players we have to talk about are ones that I am very excited to talk about. As let's get into things as in a big 2 weeks for Oregon. They are the story of college football right now, as they went out and on the road beat USC, shut down Raleigh Cordula, and Thomas DeShong had a massive game. And then in week 10 against Utah, they absolutely smacked Utah around. They took down 2 top 15 teams, knocked them out of the top 15, and they themselves find themselves at the number 12 spot. And it's not over for them, because they still have more of a gauntlet to run through, as they're not out of the Pac-12 title race as they take on UCLA next week. And it's going to be a massive game between Thomas DeShong and Byron Rohit. So that's going to be big for Oregon. The winner of that game punches their ticket to face Washington in the Pac-12 title game. and a whole lot of stuff can be shaken up in the polls following the next 2 weeks and the Pac-12 title game. College football playoff spots are on the line here potentially. But elsewhere, Texas took down TCU as Texas takes control of the Big 12, and they are 8-1 and 9th in the polls. We have Florida handing Missouri their first loss of the season, and Missouri, despite being 8-1, they're not being respected in the polls a crazy amount because they haven't had the strongest schedule. Their non-conference schedule is pretty cupcake, and they haven't really had to run into all the big-time SEC teams this year. They have not run into Alabama or LSU. So, you know, they aren't being respected quite as much as you maybe would think for an 8-1 record. In Week 10, Michigan absolutely dominated Minnesota as John Mark Aldrich threw 5 touchdown passes and had his biggest game of the season. And UCLA survived a bit of a scare at Arizona as Byron Rohe had to lead a game-winning touchdown drive to avoid the upset. As we look forward and the regular season starting to come to an end, I said it was going to be a big few weeks for Oregon, but you can probably double that for UCLA, as UCLA has the tough draw of facing Washington and then Oregon back-to-back weeks. I said it's going to be big because Oregon has a chance to find themselves in the Pac-12 title game if they beat UCLA, but UCLA has a chance to find themselves in the college football playoffs if they can beat Oregon and Washington. It's going to be big for Byron Rohe to see if he can punch a ticket to the playoffs. As we talk about some of these players, how about we talk about who has become the most polarizing player in all of college football, and that is quarterback Thomas DeShong. And I say polarizing in the sense of where NFL scouts and NFL media believe he can be as a quarterback in the NFL, as he has shot his draft stock way up this season, and especially in these last 2 weeks. And projection for him is the biggest anomaly, as he can go anywhere in day one. I mean, he can fall out of day one. He can, going into this season, he was a day 2 guy maybe. He was maybe a Malik Willis type where the Titans took him in the 3rd round and you might get a boom or bust, but he's starting to show that maybe he's better than Malik Willis was as a prospect, and he's a worthy day 1 quarterback. But he has been insane this season, but also doesn't maybe project as well as you would hope to be an NFL quarterback. And with guys like this, he is one of the most dynamic athletes you will find at the quarterback position. Just last year, you had Anthony Richardson come in. Now, he's not quite the athlete of Anthony Richardson, but he's more like a Justin Fields type of athlete, where he's still going to walk in and be one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the league day 1. But as a passer, he's going to be potentially frustrating, and he's going to be a little inconsistent. But what he has done for this Oregon team cannot be talked about enough, as this Oregon team, there's a reason that they came into the season barely scratching into the top 25, because this team isn't talented on offense. This team, it's a pretty good defense, but on offense, they are poor. They have no draftable wide receivers, no draftable running backs, maybe a late round offensive lineman. There is no one on that offense that is going pro, and Thomas DeShong has carried them to being an offense that is putting up like 30 plus points a game. It has been a one-man show out there, and that one-man Thomas DeShong is just surging up the charts when it comes to who should win the Heisman, who should be in the Pac-12 title game. Oregon all the way up to number 12 in the polls, and he has a lot to like. He's an amazing person, an amazing leader. He makes everyone around him better. He's just that kind of guy who everyone wants to fight for on the team. You will hit harder, you will run faster to try to make sure Thomas DeShong is coming out on top. But with his track record of not having great talent at Oregon and struggling to really have a number 1 receiver and number 1 players around him and being at a deficit for so much, he does tend to have that mindset of playing hero ball, as it's called, a little too often, where he's running around, he's maybe throwing up passes he shouldn't, he's doing a little too much at times, and I think that just comes with the nature of his career and how he's had to always play with less than talent. But not to spend too long on DeJong here, and as it comes to where he projects as an NFL player, he probably shouldn't start day one unless you really believe that you can take his running ability and make it impactful early on, which you probably could, but as a passer, he's not equipped to be a starter day one. He really could go anywhere. He could be a top 10 pick, maybe, if everything goes well. He could fall out of the first round completely. Some teams are not even going to have him as a draftable prospect. Other teams are going to love him. I don't know where you rank Thomas DeJong, and I don't know where he's going to go in the draft, but I just know it's been fun to watch him in college football, and following his story has been a great one. From the draft's biggest anomaly to the lowest rated player we will be talking about in this upcoming draft classes, we have a day 3 grade on him. Maybe at best he is a early 4th round pick, but likely he is 5th round. But I talked a bit about Florida this year and how they are a very dynamic offense. And the story of Kalen Shanny is, well, he's really small, and you know how these really tiny speed receivers go. You got your Jakeem Grants, your J.J. Nelsons, your whoever's you can think of. There's someone every year that comes out that's picked late in the draft, and they don't usually do much. I mean, like, you had your Tyreek Hill, but even Tyreek Hill is much bigger than, you know, someone like Shanny. Shanny is 5'7", 178, and he was not even supposed to be at Florida. He was not offered by a single Division I college football team to be a wide receiver. The only reason he is at Florida is because he agreed to take a track and field scholarship and walk onto the football team. And he is an amazing track and field athlete, as he is one of the fastest runners that Florida has, but he was not supposed to be a football player, and he was buried on the depth chart as a freshman. But sophomore year, you know, top 2 receivers at Florida transferred, another one graduated. They were really desperate, and they threw Shanny on the field, and he shocked everyone and had 1,000 yards and shocked everyone so much. In fact, he made the first team All-SEC. And going into his junior season, everyone was like, can he do it again? And this season, he's done his part, but the offense as a whole has been pretty disappointing. And what was thought to be an opportunity for him to really boost his draft stock, he's kind of just plateaued as, you know, a guy who can maybe get 1,000 yards in college, but for a guy who's 5'7", 178 and barely scraping 1,000 yards in college, I mean, once you get to the NFL and everyone's just a whole lot faster, bigger, stronger, it's going to be tough to get 1,000 yards in the NFL, and it's going to be tough to stay healthy. It's going to be tough to just play, as he, as a projection, is probably just your 4th or 5th string receiver who can be a great deep threat and a good return man. I don't see where else he could play, as he maybe has the upside to be a number 3 guy who lines up on the outside and just is there to stretch the field, but he'll never be a great number 1 receiver. He'll probably have injury concerns. He's a tough little guy. He's not gotten hurt before, but it's only a matter of time with people like him, and we'll see where he goes in the draft. Now, I did an anomaly, I did a late round guy, but how about we just go to slam dunk home run pick? Now, we talked about Clement Drombetta in the last episode, and while he is the slam dunk best player in this class, I think if you were going to have the next most likely player to succeed, it's A.J. Perkins, guard out of Texas, as Texas has had an incredible offensive line. I mean, they're the closest thing you can think of to those Cowboys offensive lines in the 2010s. They have 2 first-round projected players, one of them being A.J. Perkins. They have a guy probably coming in next year's draft who's going to be pretty good, too. A.J. Perkins, though, is the best of the bunch at guard. He is probably the most dominant run blocker we have had come out in years. He is insane with his run blocking. He moves people back. He knocks people back. There was a time when Playing Texas Tech, they put him in a trap play. He came across, the ball was snapped, and he just rocked a 300-pound D tackle and had him flat on his back and opened up a massive gap for the running back. It doesn't even matter who Texas has at running back. They're going to run for 1,000+ yards any year with that offensive line, and A.J. Perkins is the biggest reason why. Now, he's pretty locked in as a guard. He's not going to be able to play tackle. I mean, maybe you can play him at center, but why would you play him at center? He's a dominant guard. He could be a better pass protector if you have a knock on him, but he's a fine pass protector. You're drafting him because he's an amazing run blocker, and honestly, I'm scared to know what happens if he ends up on a team like the Titans. Imagine if he's blocking for Derrick Henry. Imagine if he's blocking for Nick Chubb. I'm scared to know what happens if he gets drafted by a team with a dominant run game, run schemes, running back. I'm scared to know what he would do, as he is a guy like Mike Vrabel's dream offensive lineman. He is a dream lineman for any run-dominant team. As A.J. Perkins, not a whole lot to talk about with him, other than the fact that he is just really good. And he's going to be a top 10 pick most likely, and whichever team drafts him is getting themselves an incredible offensive lineman. But that'll do it for this week's college football update. As the Raiders, we might have taken another 2 losses, and we might be picking top 5 in the draft, who knows, but with one of those players potentially being available, whether it be A.J. Perkins, Trombetta, Byron Rohit, who knows, we're pretty likely to add a really nice player to this team, and we'll see if the Raiders can just get a couple of wins to close out the season, do something, but we only have a couple games left, and no more Jimmy Garoppolo, I can promise you, no more Jimmy G, as we'll wrap things up. Next episode, we'll be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll be getting to see Patrick Mahomes for the first time this season and seeing what Mahomes will do to this defense, as if Aaron Rodgers was anything to go off of, it won't be pretty, but we'll see you in the next one when we take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.